Hey, Doug.
Hey.
So, back in like November of 2023, we solved all the world's problems, so we didn't have to do the show anymore. It was great.
Yeah.
Turns out the world kept happening, and now we're back because there's more problems. And I'm kind of nervous, actually. It's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah, we might be rusty.
Yeah.
So, but you know what? I have a good idea though. Like, in fact, because I'm not feeling good about it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not confident, really. I feel good. I mean, I like talking to you.
Yeah, it's good talking, but
but I feel like maybe let's just skip doing the show and just pretend to be the comment section.
So we can do the
skip it all together. Yeah.
It's like the don't like writing but love having written. We don't like doing the show right now, but we can like commenting on the show. Perfect. All right.
Okay, so I'll have Denver come in and we'll just be the comment section and let him do the show by himself.
Great.
Okay, cool. Hey, Denver.
Hey.
What's up, man?
Good. Hey, I'm just reading.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Hey, can I read a sentence really quick? Can I read a sentence, Matt, before we start? Can I read a sentence?
Sure.
Really quick. A number of sects, S-E-C-T-S, hold UFOs and alien abductions to be premonitions of end times. Sorry, that was the part I was on in Demon Haunted World, so sorry.
That's weird. Do you know what? That's exactly what I would think like a paid puppet for the pedo elite would be reading, on a Monday morning. I have a question for you, sir.
Yes.
If I can call you that.
Yes, you
if
may.
January 6th was so dangerous, why would the police just let people in, and walk peacefully through the halls?
I've heard this so many times. And gosh, we're jumping right into it, huh, fellas?
Yes, you George Soros bitch. We are, yes.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I was laundering money for George Soros through my distilleries, Doug. So come on.
Right.
I mean, you know the story, right? So, but when you're talking about people wandering peacefully or people letting people in, the thing at that point, and I want to tell you guys, this is going to be sort of crazy. Do you know that on the ships before D-Day, it was peaceful?
Was it?
It was. There were people peacefully riding on ships. Does that mean that D-Day didn't happen? How about this? Before any type of violence, do you know that serial killers at times took pictures with their families? It's peaceful. So obviously they weren't serial killers. Let me put it to you this way. Do you know how big the Capitol complex is? If you're looking at specific sections of actually the Capitol complex, it's massive. So there actually could be things happening in one area that aren't happening in another. Now, I know this is common sense with a baseball bat, but let me tell you about this way too. Before something violent happens, that means there's a period of nonviolence.
Are you saying there's something called like calm before the storm? Because I don't think anyone's ever said that in human history.
I don't know if I've ever heard that exact statement. I mean, it sounds almost like it should be a cliche.
Yeah.
But it's not. Go ahead, Doug. Go ahead.
Well, let me ask you this, Hunter Biden's bitch. How is it possible that a voting base known for their arms didn't show up with any weapons?
Well, I mean,
and you have the nerve, you and Nancy Pelosi have the nerve to call it a coup?
Yeah, I know I've said the word coup-like movements a lot, but I think people need to look up the name Lonnie Leroy Kaufman if they know how to use this thing called the Google machine. Also, when you're looking at the Oath Keepers, you can actually look at the Oath Keepers trial and the type of weapons that they had in the back in their cache. Also, the federal government and local law enforcement has put out the number of weapons that were there that day, which is easy to look up. So you're talking about batons, mallets, sticks, all those beautiful things. There were also firearms. Just because the FBI didn't report firearms doesn't mean there was other law enforcement agencies there who did report firearms. So let's just make this clear. There were weapons used that day. Not only that, there were over 3 dozen, probably over 40 to 50 people now that were charged specifically with weapon charges the day of January 6th. You can also see it on video, which you can actually use the Google machine again and actually look at people using weapons. When you're talking about a riot or a mob, or you're talking about coordination with Oath Keepers and Proud Boys, all you have to do is look at charging documents. There's over 1,200 charging documents that you can run through ChatGPT, or you can actually look at yourself to see what they were charged with, which you can see the weapon charges within the very DOJ charging documents that are out there right now. So I would suggest that people, instead of saying that there were no weapons there, it was peaceful, know this. There were multiple law enforcement agencies there that day. There were multiple people with weapons. There were firearms, and they were used to bludgeon over 140 police officers there, which which the actual injuries are documented. That means you can go look at hospital records and see how they were injured at that time. There was also mace use, and now you had aerosols and other types of weapons used that could actually affect people based on chemicals. So now if you're talking about peaceful, if you're talking about blunt force weapons, if you're talking about all these types of things, if you're talking about firearms and caches, if you don't know to look up Lonnie Leroy Kaufman, I can't help those people because they're freaking mouth breathers and they've been oxygen deprived virtually their whole lives, maybe from birth.
You know, that was a lot of words that you said, but I've got two for you. Ray Epps.
Oh, Ray Epps. So you're talking about one rube from Arizona.
Yeah, laugh it up, you globalist cuck.
Yeah, it's one rube to rule them all.
So what? Well, you know what? Very good. That's very good, Matt, because that's exactly what idiots believe. If you talk about, and by the way, I wrote it in my book, The Breach, but when you look at Ray Epps, guess who got to see his phone records? Does anybody want to take a guess who actually got to see what his communications were for months before and even after January 6th? Oh, it's this cat right here. The guy you call Soros's globalist cuck. He actually knows what data looks like. And so do other people who actually do real things for a living instead of making stuff up like Darren Beatty from The Revolver, right? Who probably has some kind of issue or mental problem, or Tucker Carlson, or any of these people who do things like these stupid frickin' documentaries on OAN or Newsmax or Epic Times or Fox News Nation, right? All they are fantasies. It is for people who believe that Lord of the Rings is a documentary. Ray Epps. Let's talk about Ray Epps. Ray Epps actually is about to get 6 months in jail. I know that's sort of crazy, right? Because he was actually there and he actually didn't have a weapon. Now, think about this. This is a guy who I know was worried about actually confessing to being there because I believe he was using his wife's cell phone. And he was worried his wife was going to get mad at him. He was there with his son. And then he got caught up in the fervor because Ray Epps isn't that bright. And now Ray Epps has been on the run because conspiracy theories now put his life in danger. So that's why Ray Epps is probably going to sue Fox News or is suing Fox News. But also Ray Epps is being held accountable for his crimes. So riddle me this. How is a guy who had no communications with the FBI, no communications with law enforcement, no communications with any law enforcement until January 8th, when he found out he was on a list? And by the way, it wasn't the most wanted list. He was on a list for information. So if anybody says he was on the FBI's most wanted list, well, that's bullshit because that's somebody making stuff up. And now you're back to Tucker Carlson and his fever dreams, and whatever his porn addiction is. So those are the things that you have right now with Ray Epps. Communications, testimony, people that were there, all of that in no way confirms that Ray Epps was even part as an FBI informant. Now you have people saying he led it. Are you kidding me? Thousands of people going in there, thousands of charging documents, the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys taking freaking credit for this. So riddle me this. Why Ray Epps? Because some douchebags got him on camera, and then they thought that they could actually push a conspiracy theory to the ignorant, because minding the ignorant is how you make money. It's how you grift. It's how you sell articles. It's how you sell media. That's what I think about Ray Epps.
That all sounds mighty peculiar to me.
Mighty peculiar. Peculiar.
My Lord.
Denver, have you had breakfast today?
I have. I had since I've lost about 10 or 15 pounds. So I had egg whites. I had some vegetable green water, which was great.
You're just like full cuck now, aren't you?
Then I went. It's called the Soros diet because I want to live into my 90s and fund nefarious programs globally.
That's a bestseller book coming soon, isn't it? The Soros diet. Oh man.
Human blood and athletic greens.
Yeah, well, look, if you really want to, what was it? Kick it up a notch? Was that a Emerald thing? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was. Kick it up. By the way, the reason I know
my
this,
references.
I was just watching Sopranos, and I think it was season 2. They had Emerald Lagasse on there.
Yeah.
When Tony's mom was watching TV from the hospital bed. So the fact that you just said that means that the universe is aligned.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned Sopranos, because we have today. We need to talk about some breakfast food. So what I want you to do, Denver, is just picture yourself in Eagle River, Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah.
You're sitting in a rural cabin. That's the only time I'm going to say that word, rural, because
Rural.
My Illinois tongue cannot handle that word.
Rural. You can say
Yeah.
rural.
I can't. I won't. Not anymore. So he's in a cabin, an isolated cabin. Okay. So man, so that's where you are. Mm-hmm. You're in an isolated cabin.
Yeah.
In Eagle River, Wisconsin. You're sitting down at the little kitchenette, probably, I'm assuming.
Kitchenette. When is this?
1961.
So you're
Sorry, did I not mention that important fact that this happens before you were born?
Who uses the word kitchenette? I mean, was he in a trailer? I mean,
it was a log cabin, sir.
A log cabin with a kitchenette. So is it like pastel? I mean,
you know what?
The fuck are we talking about here? A
We're talking
kitchenette in a
We're
cabin.
talking about you sitting at a little table in a log cabin.
I think you're talking about a hot plate in a wood stove.
Okay, that works. So you're sitting in front of a hot plate adjacent to a wood stove, and a man named Joe Simonton, a 60-year-old man who is a plumber by trade, sets a plate down in front of you. And on it, are three things that resemble pancakes. And he goes, hey, dig in.
You know what my first question is? Honestly, if a plumber serving me, did you wash your damn hands?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the first question, right?
Well,
to a plumber.
Okay. And then, you know what? He's got an answer for you. Doesn't matter if I washed my hands. I didn't make them. Now, you're going to think, weird. I'm in an isolated cabin with a 60-year-old plumber named Joe Simonton. I'm the only one here, and I didn't make the pancakes, right? And he didn't.
I don't know, in 1961, in a log cabin kitchenette with a hot plate and a wood stove. First of all, I don't even know if he has electricity. So, I mean, so the first thing
he's got plumbing.
Hopefully, well, if he's a plumber, maybe he does it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. You know what?
So,
paint, people that paint for paint houses for a living usually have the worst painted houses because they don't want to do it when they get home. So,
do you know who you want to give the haircut? The person with the worst hair is the person you want to give you the haircut, right?
Yeah.
So because
solid
they're giving
advice.
Solid advice because somebody who cut their hair sucked. So that person probably is really good at it. Well,
I like
there's the comments unless they cut their own hair. But no, Joe Simonton, I would be really confused where the pancakes came from, especially if I look around and I see not a big refrigerator, probably not a big freezer. I'm just not quite sure where those pancakes would have come from.
And one thing I want to point out here is also pancakes are just plain. There's nothing on them. We're not talking like stack of flapjacks, or whatever, with the butter melt. No, these are just very, very flat, very, very jagged in weird ways around the edges pancakes.
Okay.
So
like Picasso pancakes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be a way to put it.
Okay.
So Joe sits down with you and he tells you a tale of his morning on April 18th, 1961, in which he was doing the dishes, looking out his window.
Yeah.
And I'm going to use a visual aid, a saucer of sorts, but not this space acorn. But this is a callback to season 1.
You know what? It's definitely plumber-like.
It is.
I think plumbers, that could use for plumbing.
It can plumb some things, sure.
Yes.
So he describes it though as a soup bowl, like two halves.
Okay.
Lands right in front of his window.
Okay.
And Joe, unfazed, just steps outside, and a door opens, and 3 individuals are in this. About 5 feet tall, 125, 130 pounds each. Joe's pretty observant. Distinctly Italian looking, or as Joe would say, Italian individuals. And
Italian? Some Italian looking 5-footers.
Look,
it sounds like a weird
Italians from space came down and
I don't know why when you're doing this. Do you know what the first thing that popped in my mind, Matt, was Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp. I don't even know. Oh my God. It was like Lancelot Link, Secret Chimp. I'm like, are these like little what the fuck?
All right. I have to do
and they have pancakes. I don't know why Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp, when you're talking about Joe Simonton with a kitchenette in the middle of the woods with a soup-shaped saucer that comes down and delivers shit. I don't know, but Lancelot Link Secret Chimp is where I'm at.
Can I tell you this?
Yeah.
Just as a little like break out of character from the story aside, I was on another podcast a couple weeks ago in which Lancelot Link was a huge topic for a while. So this is very weird to me that like this random show has come up now twice, and I'm recorded on the record saying Lancelot
I had
Link
no
Secret
idea.
Chimp
I had
and
no
having
idea.
to explain
Universe, man.
Yeah. Well, The
Universe.
Sopranos and the Italians, I can't I don't know how to say
Italians?
this made up word. Well, because
The Dwarven
came-
Italians.
look,
Okay, good.
these particular Italians, where they crossed the border, but they crossed several other borders too, because they came from space.
Okay. This is crazy. Crazy.
Now, the reason why they are landing in
Yes.
Joe Simonton's front yard is they're out of fuel.
Okay. So you're telling me that a spaceship crosses time and space,
Mhm.
navigates maybe through wormholes.
Yep.
They have advanced technology.
Yeah.
They get to Earth, and they hadn't planned for fuel.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
Just a little oversight.
Yeah, it's a-
Minor oversight. You know what?
Bad
they-
mission planning.
Yeah, but you know
Sounds
what
like
they
the
did
damn
plan for?
Italians.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
What did they plan for?
Okay. Well, they planned to satiate their hunger for this whole trip because Joe is standing outside as this like day the earth stood still like door comes down, and he sees the three very Italian looking extraterrestrials
Okay.
all doing their particular task. So one is manning some kind of control board, right? The other is greeting Joe, like,
Okay.
hey, welcome.
So that's the host.
Do you have a reservation? Yeah, like,
Yeah, the engineer, the host.
and
yeah.
the third is probably doing the most crucial of jobs.
Yeah.
He is manning a flameless griddle.
Which was advanced technology in 1961.
So this ship that has traversed who knows how much
Mm-hmm.
distance, time, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
is running out of fuel rapidly and needs to make an emergency landing. But that, you know what? That ain't stopping those flapjacks from being flipped and served. And
You know, if this was Star Trek and they had a good engineer, they would have diverted the power from the flameless grill to the thrusters.
Computer, divert power from stasis units 1 through 10 and...
Generator, can you divert more power to sensors?
And I think that's exactly what should have happened there. This is really interesting.
yeah. So the reason why this story is being told right now
Yeah. Go ahead.
is one, because it is almost like the definitive Mighty Peculiar story. We
It
are
is.
literally talking about a man who says 3 aliens, extraterrestrials with interestingly human features landed in his yard needing fuel and presented him with an empty jug. Like, hey, here, help us get fuel. Joe just brought him back water and it worked.
Wait, okay. All right. Okay.
I was waiting for that one.
Hold on a second.
Yep.
So if water is their fuel, or they know that water is a possible fuel thing for their soup bowl,
Yeah.
why don't they have a scoop? Did they not see any rivers or lakes? Did they not see an ocean? Maybe it's not saltwater compatible. I guess maybe there's something with their internal thrusters, their nuclear radon, proton, dilithium crystal thrusters, or the thing that's actually powering the flameless grill. But if water, it's almost like an M. Night Shyamalan stupid ass movie twist, right? Because, just like in Signs, when water, it's contaminated, when the water, right, is sprayed on the, piece of shit, weird click alien, right? You
Yeah.
telling me there's not motherfucking dew in the morning? Or there's not any mist? They can't even cross a piece of water. What are they doing? I didn't see any bridges. Do they have temporary bridges? And it's the same thing with this, right? It's the stupid ass movie like Signs. I was like, well, that's a great movie. There's water in the atmosphere, assholes. it's contaminated.
Swing away, Denver. Swing away.
Swing away. What? So are you telling me just baseball bats and a little bit of spray water, squirt guns and baseball bats will destroy the alien frickin' invasion?
You repel the alien invasion the way you discipline a cat with a spray bottle. Like, get away.
Had an alien stuck in the closet. He's like, ooh, you know what I get? I go get my daggone 12 gauge with buckshot and I blast through the door and kill the shit out of it. Yeah. Then I drag it up. You know what I do? I put it on my truck bed as a warning to other aliens.
You know what I do? I'd spray it with lemon water. That's got to hurt more.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine dying and the sting of lemon?
Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
No, I don't want to. But also,
damn.
Hey, here's a good question.
Yeah.
How do they make their batter? I mean, it needs some kind of liquid, right? Like,
my dog's attacking me, I think.
Yeah, but we were talking about,
I don't know what's
but
going
like
on. There's aliens.
there
must be aliens coming out. But no, that's okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. So I was going to ask the question of like, if water or some kind of liquid is their fuel, right?
Yeah.
And they don't have any, are they just prioritizing this making of pancakes to their own detriment? Is that why they ran out of fuel? Because they just like couldn't stop making pancakes and they needed to.
Is that their only food source? I think is what you're asking, right, Matt? Is it Picasso? Is it Picasso pancakes on a flameless grill? And by the way, how long did it take to come from Planet Zezob? Right? And
no, it's Planet Butterworth, but
Planet Milan. Isn't that an Italy?
Yeah.
I knew.
You want to know how long it took to get from there to there? It was pretty bisquickly.
Oh, that's awful. But I love it. I love it. They were roaming around. Rome.
Okay. So
Italy, Rome.
Anyway, they're distinctly Italian looking. Are Italians known for pancakes? That's the other thing. My other question is, I don't think that was a.
Do Italians eat pancakes? I think is the next topic on the Mighty Peculiar.
Hey, viewers and listeners, write in. Do Italians eat pancakes?
Next on the Mighty Peculiar.
Okay. Bizarrely, and we'll just say this here. This story, this one man in an isolated cabin's story actually catches interest of lots of people. Like, you would think this should go nowhere, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But hey, David Grush's congressional testimony should have went nowhere either, but I'll get to that.
Right. Well, exactly. So what ends up happening is the local judge in Eagle River, Wisconsin, right. This feels like the classic like movie judge where he's like an all-purpose person in the town. It's like he marries people. He does this. He solves mysteries. It
could be a show.
Apparently,
Judge Bob DeWitt in the Space Pancakes, episode 3. Do Italians make pancakes? If
we can get him gaveling that in and like,
I'm all for it. Andy Griffith stars.
Oh God. Yes, please. And you know what? It's a back-to-back with Lancelot Link. That's a great hour of TV.
Oh my God, that would be fantastic.
So he tells this local judge,
right,
and about this, and the local judge turns out to be kind of a UFO guy, like kind of really into that. There you go.
Of course he does.
Because what's interesting is our Joe Simonson, our plumber, kind of reminds me of not quite the same because he obviously concocts this crazy story, but he apparently claims to have never heard of UFOs. That's his kind of like
Joe Simonton claims.
He's so earnest. He's so like, aw shucks, like guy that like that stuff's none of his business. He doesn't know, but the judge is super into it, and the judge calls a man named J. Allen Hynek.
Okay.
Is that a name you know?
Is that a journalist?
That is a man that investigates UFOs.
That's not a Project Blue Book cat, is it?
Oh, yes, it is. He's also works for like the University of Minnesota, but like
Minnesota
yes.
and Wisconsin together. My God.
So Hynek sends an investigative team.
Yeah.
To hang out with Joe.
Oh my God. I wonder if they have the Fargo accent going on this whole damn time.
Okay, so there were 3 Italian alien extraterrestrials. They made Joe 3 pancakes, so I guess we're just working at the same numbers. Joe ate one of the pancakes, preserved 2 for people to examine.
All right, hey, I want to ask a question really quick. This is a serious question to you and our audience. Would you eat an alien-based pancake without some type of chemical analysis first, or some kind of maybe, I mean, that would be honestly like me walking down the street, somebody coming out of the corner and saying, hey, I made this sandwich. Would you eat it? No. That's you do stranger danger on sandwiches and pancakes.
Right. Yeah.
It's common sense.
That is 100% common sense. But you know what?
I don't get it.
Folksy wisdom and charm sometimes overrides common sense. And I think Joe felt like he bonded.
You know, I'm a hypocrite, right, Matt? I'm a total hypocrite. I ate fucking tripe soup in Romania. I mean, a little old lady in a corner was like, come into my restaurant. I was by myself in there, which is an indicator. Right. And I ate tripe soup and got food poisoning. But go ahead. So I did exactly what I said you shouldn't do.
I mean, you're just lucky it wasn't like a vampire trap. So like, you're good. Like you got out light.
Hey, I went to Dracula's castle in the Carpathians, my friend.
Well, there we go. Like,
come on.
So food poisoning was like a victory getting out of there. Like you could have had much worse.
Dracula didn't want any of my blood.
That was not a joke about Romania.
I do not want to get sick. I'm not taking the blood at Denver. He's got food poisoning from tripe soup from Betsy. That is the worst freaking accent. I don't even know what that accent was. What was that? That was like, is it just a generalized accent of all 193 countries? Is that what I just did?
I think you just kind of mashed it all together.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
The Rosetta Stone accent. This is everything.
It was like, Denver, you're not going to be able to do voices on The Simpsons. You're out. You know?
Yeah.
So, okay.
I learned that limitation about myself very early on. So you'll notice that I have never once attempted accent work. Like, just never going to happen. I'm close to Wisconsin, and I'm not even going to dare.
Oh, don't try Minnesota either.
Or nope. No, I know hot dish and casserole are like 2 different things, but the same thing. That's what I know about Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois.
Fantastic. So we have Project Blue Book actually investigating space pancakes based on the word of a UFO believing judge to a plumber who accepted said pancake from an alien without any cleanliness or chemical analysis of the food that he was about to put into his mouth. Did I pretty much sum it up?
You nailed it. Yes. Now, my favorite little element here, that was amazingly succinct for this like absurd story. So J. Allen Hynek and his team really, really love Joe. And they just think this man wouldn't make this up. He wouldn't lie. Which, as someone who works in, intelligence and all that kind of stuff, how much credence do you put on one witness with basically no corroborating evidence or anything like that?
None. Listen, the craziest people can sound the most reasonable. Yeah. And I've tried to point that out to individuals as I was going through the depositions in J6, but also things that I've done in my life. I've done a lot of investigatory work. I was in counterterrorism, and the people who sound sometimes. I mean, think about Mike Johnson right now, the Speaker of the House. Right? He has a great voice. He'd be a great radio personality, which I believe he was, and he has the ability to present things that are absolutely insane in a way where people are like, oh, you know what, that makes sense. Right. Also, if somebody's actually delusional or hysterical, right, or maybe has spent too much time in a cabin in the woods in Wisconsin by themselves with a kitchenette, I think that there's a dinette, and is a plumber and has had a lot of fumes in his life. I think that it's possible that you can sound completely reasonable and seem earnest and maybe even believe it, but there's not a shred of truth. There's not a shred of evidence.
Right.
And just because you sound reasonable does not mean you are.
Right.
It's one of the most common, I think, misconceptions. But, well, he really seems nice. My gut is telling me he's telling the truth. You know, your gut is wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And I had to find that out through experience. You know, I thought, I have this, you know, I'll tell you this, Matt. I know Doug's listening, our great producer. And by the way, Doug, yes, we should send this audition tape to the Golden Globes because it has to be better than that chucklehead last night, you know, from the things that I've seen. Is that my gut or saying, it can't be Bob, he seems nice, is absolutely wrong. You can have a good feeling about somebody. You can go off that first impression. That's fantastic. Go ahead. Trust but verify is actually a really good thing, you know, to actually go. But you also have to consider the source. So if you have a guy who's been in the woods, who says he doesn't know anything about UFOs, who says it looks like 3 5-foot, you know, tall Italians, and they're actually making pancakes on a flameless griddle, and they use water as a source, but they decide to stop at his cabin. When I think, you know, I would love for people, our listeners, to go out and look at what percentage of the globe is covered by water.
Right. Yeah. Why did they need to go to him if that's what they knew? And also, how did he know that's what they needed? Because that's also lacking in his story.
Well, it's either, listen, there's things that you can look at. If you look at a person's story like that, there's 4 things. First, it's factual. So first thing is there a factual basis to it? And that's usually by sourcing, or does it meet the smell test right off the bat on how far deep you want to go into it, right? For instance, if I said there's a conjoined twin talking off my back right now, the first thing, like, Denver, I'd like to see little Bobby on your back, right? Yeah. And, you know, and I turned, you know, so, you know, you have that, right? You want to see that.
You have an Ewok on your back? Like, what's going on? Like,
we're back to Ewok. You know,
so you've got 2 voices.
Yeah, that's right. Quado.
Now go home and get your fucking shine box.
Well, of course, thank you. Quado is one of my favorite characters of all time because one of the people in the Air Force call sign was Quato because he looked exactly like Quato, right? You know, free your mind, Quaid, or, you know. So, you know, and so, you know, you have that going on too. But when you're looking at all this stream of thing, first thing is facts, right? Yeah. Does Quato actually exist? Well, I want to see that little sucker pop out of a chest, and then maybe, you know, we'll talk about it. Yeah. The second thing too is the guy deliberately lying. You know, right. Is it a grift? Right. Number 3, are they pulling a lark? Is it a joke? Right. And now it's a joke. There's 2 different types of, right. There's the specific lie to make money and hurt people, right, and take advantage of them. Then there's the joke, right? The hoax. You know, I'm having a bit of fun. There's a fourth thing. It's called batshit crazy.
This is also the time when many of the bats go for a poop. For this job, they need to turn right side up.
Yeah. And batshit crazy can sound reasonable. And I think that's what people need to look at these things when they're actually trying to ascertain, you know, the, I would say how realistic somebody's claim is something like this.
Yeah. Well, and you know what? So interestingly, like, while the judge and then like J. Allen Hynek and his team all were very less than skeptical in terms of accepting what Joe says, interestingly, the NICAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, which was founded in 1956, ran till 1980. They were constantly like trying to be taken seriously when everyone was laughing at them. And Hynek wanted them to investigate the space pancakes. And they were like, no, we're not touching that. Like, we've been having such a hard time getting people to take us seriously. We do not want space pancakes and NICAP to be in the same sentence.
Yes. Dude, as we're going into this, so obviously, and please tell me I'm right on this, Matt, obviously there was a rigorous investigation somehow where there was a 100% conclusion onto what happened that day. Could you at least give me that, Matt?
There wasn't. Now, let me tell you this.
I'm very confused by that.
There's a good, well, I think there's I think we have a very simple reason for that. Is, can you prove something that didn't happen? Like, what would an investigation show? I'll tell you. Okay, so NICAP does cave. and they do allow themselves to be associated. And this is like NICAP is Donald Kehoe, you know, who wrote the Truth About Flying Saucers or whatever. You know.
I know. Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
How about this? Kehoe, that guy who is like synonymous with flying saucers, heard the word space pancakes and went, no. That should tell you something, right?
Yes. Even that kind of crazy is not something that registers in their brain pan.
Right.
Yeah.
So they did do an analysis of the pancakes themselves, the two that Joe didn't eat.
Please tell me what this chemical analysis is, Matt, because
nothing interesting. It was all local stuff. So, which means one of two things.
It was Italians
who are super into locally sourced ingredients. They are traveling out. They're on a food adventure, and they are eating So they went to Wisconsin. They're like, let's find the local grains and stuff.
Hello, Joe. Wait,
one of them had trace amounts of motor oil, but again, not space motor oil, just general motor oil that, maybe anyone would.
Joe, my friend, we are hunter-gatherers from space. We are hunter-gatherers. We only use locally sourced ingredients because we are green. We are green. We use water as fuel. And I don't know what this accent is.
It's all starting to add up, though. I don't know the accent either, but you know what?
What if they were actually Italian aliens, like illegal aliens that were there?
Just came down and
they're like, let's build a fucking balloon over the border from Mexico, and we're gonna land in Wisconsin, and we're all really short. So what do you want to do, Fabrizio? We will make pancakes for days. And when we land, we'll tell the stupid Rube in Wisconsin that we are aliens from the future and we only use locally sourced ingredients because we're hunter-gatherers from the planet Lilu. Well, that works, Fabrizio.
I love it. I think you solved it.
Anthony, the issue we have is we only have motor oil.
He does sound like Mario. Doug just typed in here. You sound like the evil Mario.
What's this going on?
So, the three
we
guys.
Make space pancakes with motor oil. Where's the fucking spaghetti?
So, look, we got Luigi manning the control panel. Wario's got the flameless griddle, and Mario is the greeting because he goes up to Joe and goes, "It's a me, Mario," and then they say, "Okay."
This is the Mario aliens.
It is. It's just that's all it is. And then Joe you know what? Joe looks at them, looks at his cabin, and goes, "Sorry, your princess is in another cabin. We gotta go." But okay.
Who's this plumber?
Okay. Joe was a plumber.
Dude.
Did they just seek out like for like? Where they're like,
did Mario Brothers get the idea from the space pancakes? I swear we have just, conspiracy theory.
Well, actually, I do have another really dated pop culture reference that I don't even know counts as. Does anyone, and Doug, why don't you jump in here? Because I think I need you guys here to. Did you guys remember a movie starring, oh man, Three's Company guy? Why did I just suddenly lose his name? John Ritter. Yeah. And Jim Belushi called Real Men?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I remember vaguely the box.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like a video store thing.
So Denver, do you remember the end of that movie when they finally meet the aliens?
God, because I watched it, but that was the 80s?
Oh yeah.
Early 90s? Late 80s?
We didn't even have electricity then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was during the war of VHS and Betamax.
Yeah.
The precious commodity that Ritter and Belushi had been getting protecting and all this stuff, the adventure that led them, all the aliens wanted was a glass of water. And then they leave.
Those were the aliens that beat the aliens in Signs all the time.
100%, yeah.
Yeah. So Signs was loosely based on this John Ritter, John Belushi film.
So
Signs is based on real men.
Science based on real men and space pancakes.
And Mario Brothers based on the three Italian aliens that jumped out with motor oil pancakes.
the way that my brain works, I just want to see like an M. Night Shyamalan version of like Hero at Large. That was
dude, we got to write that. We got to write that. And I got to, so can I just say something? I know that we've gotten to a point that, this grift, this wanting aliens to exist, rests on the shoulders of a plumber from Wisconsin eating space pancakes without any health regulations. But I think, guys, I do think this is the 2024 election in a nutshell. And I have a feeling as we're talking about this stuff, it's all going to come back to this because I think UFOs and UAPs are going to be a huge part of 2024 election. I think the government cover up, I think all that stuff. And I know you're talking about Project Blue Book, right? We're talking about Kehoe, our good friend, right? Yeah. Even him, pushing away from space pancakes in the mountains or the woods. But I, just like David Grush and the grifters behind him, everybody wants this to be so real, so much that they can't even see the common sense sort of manifestation of what's happening here. And I do think just like the January 6th, I think government and deep space cover-ups, I think radicalized violence, but I think the UFO UAP thing is really God, I hate to use intelligence terms, but it's a leading indicator of the deep state globalist conspiracy theories that are really going to control the 2024 election. In all seriousness, Joe Simonton would vote for Trump.
Oh, yes.
That's
he was a McCarthy voter like crazy.
Well, I would love to see his voting, right?
After he went on the stump for Vivek, he would.
For Vivek, right? Yeah. The thing is that I know that right and left on the fringes, or a lot of people believe in UFOs, just like the massive number that believe in Bigfoot. I mean, you're talking, what was the last number? 26 to 30% of Americans believe in Bigfoot, right? Which those are the ones who told the truth. I mean, let's 10 to 15% lied, right? Do you believe in Bigfoot? No.
Right.
And then they have this in their study.
Right.
They have a hat with Bigfoot custom made that says Jack. This was actually sent to me after I was accused of Bigfoot erotica. That's why I like to wear this hat. From I think it's I don't even know who made it for me anymore. I just don't know. No, I think Joe is symbolic of, just like at the beginning of the show, Joe is symbolic. Space Pancakes is hilarious.
It is.
Matt, it's hilarious.
I love this story so much.
I love this story. It's wonderful, but it is so full of shit. It is so dumb. That's why we can laugh about it, but we can't laugh about it.
Well, how far did the media take it? Like how far?
That's the question, right, Matt?
So, No, it got decent coverage. Again, so you got to keep in mind, think about the time, 1961. We are a few years removed from the previous Mighty Peculiar episode, the Washington, D.C. UFO flap.
Yes.
Which they called it.
Yeah.
If anyone can see where I'm going with this, and now we have the 1961 Wisconsin UFO flapjack. Sorry.
Well done.
That is well done.
I've been waiting to say that one. No, but here's the thing. There's enough of a trail that like this story is still written about. This is not like an absurd, really obscure. Like you don't have to dig very far. There was like a preserved one of the pancakes on display at like a UFO museum.
What did it look like?
We could, in the video version of the show, we'll put in a picture. But again, it's like, it's not a big pancake. Maybe it would fit like in the palm of your hand, and it was kind of jagged. It was a little like burnt, like unevenly cooked. So that flameless griddle kind of must have sucked.
Son of a bitch doesn't know the difference between a pancake and a crepe.
Well, and how do you cook pancakes when the elevation's constantly changing? That's hard. Like I'm from Illinois, Doug. If I went to your house, my pancake cooking would dip crazy because you're at a higher elevation.
Advanced technologies and alien civilization, they're going to be able to figure out how to cook pancakes through altitude and pressure changes.
That's true. That is true. You know what they did?
But their bagels will still never be as good.
No.
Right.
Hey, if an alien brings a bagel, I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, without any chemical analysis. Bagel?
Yeah, they slapped tomato cream. They slapped that tomato basil cream cheese on it though, right in my mouth. I don't even need no problem.
Doug's like, probe away. Just give me one of these.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
give me one
my.
of those. Yeah.
Probes for bagels. I mean, what?
the aliens are sitting. The
I've
aliens
done
are
worse.
sitting there
I've done worse for Jolly Ranchers. I mean,
the aliens are sitting there going like, we've never had someone like willingly lay down on the examination table.
Can you imagine Doug's like has a shank in jail, right? He's like, nobody come around me now. And they're like, we're going to kill. I don't care if you kill me. Nothing's going in my mouth. I'm going to wear soap on the rope. I ain't dropping in the shower. I've had enough. Like Jolly Ranchers. He's like,
well, never mind.
So
all convictions out the window.
So dropped. Jolly Ranchers.
So to
it's like the Shawshank Redemption scene. Doug's got a soap shank, trying to stop the 8 guys from getting to him.
like, oh, you got the green ones? Oh, you got the green ones.
I'll do anything for the green ones. And then Doug escaped through 100 yards of shit.
That's how it happened. That's how it happened.
That's how it happened. That's right.
so in conclusion to the space pancakes,
Yes.
Yeah.
I left out purposely one key detail that I think is very, very funny and fitting.
Yes.
So the night before, so this would be the evening of April 17th, 1961, Joe, while in his cabin alone, made himself some dinner. The 60-year-old man made himself some breakfast for dinner.
Okay.
Do you know what he had the night before this alleged pancake delivery happened?
Oh, can I guess?
Yeah.
Pancakes.
Yeah, he made himself pancakes for dinner the night before.
Yeah.
Can I do an Occam's razor? Can I just do a quick analysis of Joe Simonton really quick?
Yeah.
Can I just do it?
Please do that.
Liar.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
It's
to piggyback on what you said, he knew the local judge, who, seemed to have like a pleasant relationship with, knew him well enough, knew that guy loves UFOs. So maybe Joe Simonton was a little bit of a prankster, right? Maybe he was like, oh, you wouldn't believe it. Like,
guys, listen, the best pranksters, you have no idea.
Right.
Like, the best grifters, I will tell you right now, people don't know sometimes when I'm joking or what I'm doing, because I am amazing at keeping a straight face and doing things that are absolutely crazy. As you guys know. You guys are good too, right?
That's true.
I'm good at it.
We've been around you enough to confirm this.
Yes.
Confirm, right?
Yeah.
I can do it where I'm like, I can just say this is what's going on. It happened when I made jokes on the campaign trail when I thought people would pick them up as jokes, and they didn't.
Nope.
Right?
Right.
I mean, because I did it straight face on my first political question. I think I guys told you about it, completely straight faced. First political speech I ever gave. I had just won the nomination. I'm at a brewery right up the road. Little old lady in the front, little gray hair. She goes, "Hi, can I ask you a question?" I'm like, "Yeah, you can ask me a question." She goes, "Your name, Denver, is very odd." I said, "Well, thanks, I guess." So she goes, "I'd like to know where you got your name. Did you get your name where you were born? And I hate to ask, did you get your name where you were conceived?"
She
So I'm like,
hates
right,
to ask.
right. And I said, "Ma'am, I said, well, if I got my name where I was conceived, I said my name would be Dairy Queen, so I just said it like that. And like, everybody's looking at me like I didn't go, ma'am, if I got my name where I said, well, ma'am, I mean, honestly, if I got my name where I was conceived, my name would be Dairy Queen.
Yeah. You were doing the earnest politician. You were like,
and I thought it was funny. And my comms people lost their minds. Some people laughed, but the lady was confused.
Yeah.
And I think, part of that is you don't even know, you almost have to announce a joke. And I think what Joe did, liar regardless, say that's the baseline. But I do think he pulled off an earnest prank, had pancakes the night before.
Yeah.
Right. Was watching Lancelot Link's Secret Chimp on his black and white. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was Lancelot Link around 61? I doubt it.
I think it was a little bit later.
It was a little bit later.
But
Because then they make the chimps eat peanut butter when they talk. Hi,
Yeah,
I'm Mata Hari.
Yeah.
So do you remember that Mata Hari? Come on.
Yeah.
Lancelot Link.
oh, I
Yeah. So, but I think the guy just played a fast one, and I think that's what's happening to us now with the UAPs, UFOs. I'm getting blasted with my UFO UAP stance since I actually am an Air Force technical expert on certain things.
Right. And remember, we established on a previous episode that like that office is just an ATM machine.
Right.
No, it is.
Yeah. So
it's an ATM machine, and also if you think about it. You talk about an ATM machine. Think about go on the Gaia channel. Look at all the UFO stuff. There's that one guy that's always out there making money on this stuff. It is a grift. It is absolute BS. And if anybody thinks we have alien tech or alien body parts in bins, and you think that's a probability, man, they will sell you some waterfront property in Arizona, man.
Mm-hmm.
They'll sell you pancake mix.
Well, there could be lakes in Arizona. They could sell you space. You know what, Matt?
We should do it.
There should be a TMP, the Mighty Peculiar Space Pancake Mix.
Yeah.
That you can get and serve to your family.
And
it has just
out of this world.
We'll definitely make it a T-shirt, which you can find on our merch page, and there'll be a link to that merch page right down there in the description.
Dude, we are like brilliant. This is a brilliant show. It's a brilliant show. But to kick off the new year, I do think the Mighty Peculiar is going to be 2024 based. I don't think we can get away from it. I think this is going to be one of the most insane, and maybe some real violence happens this year as we're doing the Mighty Peculiar.
All kidding aside, you're absolutely right.
Kidding. And I think Joe Simonton, and the reason we start with this, which I think is brilliant, by the way, Matt and Doug, is that we can start with the bizarre conspiracy theories, which we started with, but the fact that the Joe Simontons of the world vote.
Yes.
And our job is to make sure they knew the truth and the facts, to give an honest, assessment, give people a chance to know facts and truth by helping them over the finish line. But if they refuse to believe, you have to cut them out and move on. You can't waste your time with those kind of individuals. So sadly, that's just where we are right now. We are in a sense of urgency time. And if UFOs and UAPs are your one issue, or the one thing that's on your mind, you need to reevaluate
your whole life.
Your whole life.
Yeah.
Your whole life. So anyhow, I know that, boy, I just got a little preachy, didn't I?
But it wasn't didactic.
Yeah, I know. It's just, Joe, did you really believe we were aliens? I don't even know what that accent was.
So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the Mighty Peculiar.
Yeah. Wait, but we have one last bit of business, Doug. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, we do.
Patreon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wait. How do I do this? You're talking about the Patreon?
Yes.
Patreon.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
Do you want to
carefully?
Wait, do you made to hype it up?
Well, do you want me to explain it?
Yeah, you can explain it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all that are watching and listening, we are starting a Patreon. So it's patreon.com/themightypeculiar. And for $3 a month, what you're going to get is 2 exclusive audio podcasts. So there won't be the video, but you're going to get some great audio content from the Mighty Peculiar that you only get from the Patreon. You'll also get bonus footage from our episodes. So, you can only imagine the stuff that we have to cut Denver saying. Well, maybe you won't have to imagine it if you pay
20 extra minutes of that Wario accent.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Right up on the Patreon.
You'll get the chance to vote on potential future topics, suggest topics for us to cover. So say you got a UFO story or something that you really want to hear talked about, you can do it that way through the Patreon. Also, if you remember, for long-time viewers, listeners, we did a little game show once where I asked Doug and Denver I quizzed them on their knowledge about demons. And if you are a member of the Patreon, you can put your name in and you can show up on an episode and challenge either Doug or Denver. It's up to you, whichever.
Or if you're feeling cocky, you could do both.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go all in.
Yeah. So you can be on an episode going head to head or heads to head
in Thunderdome.
Yeah, challenge. We're going into a Thunderdome.
Yeah.
I am Master Blaster.
So $3 a month, you get all of that. and that is patreon.com/themightypeculiar.
What are you doing? I am Master Blaster.
Thank you for joining us on the Mighty Peculiar. And we'll be back next week. And we're so glad to be back doing this madness again.
Where's the spaghetti, Fabrizio?
Odd, strange, odd, strange. Mighty peculiar.
Where's the spaghetti, Fabrizio?